$1 million. It feels great. I'm just so grateful and appreciative of this opportunity. I mean, how many people get to play a superhero once in their life, yet let alone twice? So I'm thrilled. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. And when you originally got the role, did you read any comic books as research?
When I first got the role, I wasn't really aware so much of the comics. I was just told that it was a new animated series. They didn't even have a title for it. It was called The X Project. And I was told that they were looking for an actress with a deep, husky, sexy voice who could do a Southern accent. And my agent, I had done mainly movies and TV and theater, at that point. And she said, Lenore, like, that's you. You got to go and audition for this. But I skipped the first auditions because I wasn't that interested in doing animation at the time because I was a serious actress, with air quotes. But I went back for the callbacks, and as soon as I opened up my mouth in the booth and read the first little paragraph that they had there for the character, I heard these screams on the other ends of my headphones of the producers in LA saying, "Don't let her leave the building. That's her. That's the voice of Rogue we've been waiting for." So, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. The universe works in mysterious ways, and it brought me there, and now it's brought me back again.
That's great. Have you ever felt like a mutant yourself at any point in life?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always felt a bit different. Um, I went through a period too where I just didn't know where I belonged. And when you're in your 20s, oftentimes you're wondering, what is my purpose in life? Why am I here? You know, what difference can I make? And I traveled around the world, kind of like Rogue did, trying to figure out, where do I belong? Where do I settle down? And I find that the acting community and the voice community, and also just the theatrical community, and our X-Men community are really an amazing place to be part of. And I think I've found my belonging now. I belong to this X-Men community. And I think we all have very interesting conversations about what life's all about and what we need to do to make life better for people. And I love that. I love being part of that community. So as long as we can go, I'm there.
That's great because I think it is a universal kind of feeling to feel like an outsider and
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Especially for people who love the X-Men.
yeah, yeah.
I oftentimes say that somebody should start an X-Men dating site
Yeah.
for
Okay.
people who love the X-Men to find each other. I think that would be amazing.
That would be fun. That would be fun. So what is the most difficult part of voice acting?
Um, the most difficult part of voice acting is probably realizing when you're new to it, realizing that you can't just act with your whole face because nobody's going to see it. um you have to put all of the emotion into your voice, and consider that your voice is one instrument, and that's the instrument you're playing when you are performing for radio or drama, radio dramas, or for animation. And so I think that that might be challenging for some people. Luckily for me, I did a lot of theater in my early days. I did movies and TV, and I did radio dramas at the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. And in fact, I won an award for Best Actor for a radio drama across Canada when I was 26, and it was my first radio drama. So I think I have a knack for it, and I love being able to just do that, just to focus the emotions into the voice. And I did that with this performance for X-Men 97, in particular in episode 5 and episode 7.
Yeah, you were amazing this season. It was a
Thank you.
yeah, it was
I
definitely a
appreciate
roller
that.
coaster. how were you able to get to such an emotional performance?
Well, in the beginning of episode 5, she has some major decisions to make, but when episode 5 really kicks in, when all hell breaks loose in Genosha, um, I found that the moment when she says to Magneto, "Thanks for the dance, sugar, but Remy was right. Some things are deeper than skin." I actually came up with most of that line myself, and they let me say it, and then they kept it because that for me specifies that true love is deeper than skin, and you can really not even put your finger on it what it is. So for that moment was really important to me. But I had lost my sweet young 17-year-old niece, Maya, maybe about 8 months or so before I recorded episode 5. And so I was deeply grieving already. And I decided when I got the script that I would channel my emotions and my grief and despair and emptiness and loneliness into the performance so that people would hear it in my voice, it would resonate with them. And I knew that many people have lost loved ones over the whole period of COVID and also now with wars going on. So I figured that anyone who'd lost someone or lost something would be able to relate to that, and it might make them feel their own feelings better and cry and release it, and also then have a cathartic experience and get some healing from it. And that's what I hoped that I would do with the performance. And I really made that my goal.
Boy, you did it so well, and I'm
Thank
very
you.
sorry for your loss.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it
Yeah. And
is.
then, of course, episode 7, she goes on a rampage because then after her initial loss and grief, she goes through the anger phase where she'll tear up the world if she has to. And then, she'll do things that she wouldn't normally do. And she wants revenge, which I wouldn't say is a good thing to do. I wouldn't want to do that, but some people do. And so she also expresses that side of grief, the other side, which is rage. Rage at the universe, rage at anybody who helped make it happen, and raging at herself too, probably feeling a little guilty about the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a normal thing going through grief. You go through a range of emotions, and yeah, that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, Switching gears, what are some of your favorite fan and interactions at Comic Cons?
Well, I just love meeting people who tell me their story about how they first started watching X-Men years ago, but also the new ones who are seeing it for the first time, and then they want to go back and watch the original. So, for instance, I met a lovely man at one of the Comic Cons recently who told me that he was from a Mexican family who had moved to California to pick fruit in a small town. And he and his 10 brothers and sisters on a Saturday would get together around their tiny TV in their trailer and with their blankets all wrapped around them. And their mom would make them hot cocoa and they would watch X-Men. And the image of that just brings joy to my heart. I love that. And he said, "Yeah, and we loved it so much. And we still now we're watching it. And we call each other, 'Did you see that? Well, what happened there?'" I mean, it's fantastic. And then also people who have told us that we helped save them when they were feeling lonely and despairing, and some people who were suicidal, but they felt that if they kept watching the show, that kept them going, and they realized it's okay to be different. It's all right. It's not a big deal. And then just recently, a little 6-year-old girl who I met who told me that she loves the show. And I said, "Isn't it kind of scary, the new show?" And she said, "No, it's exciting." And then she said, "I even watched episode 5 6 times." And her father said, yes, we talked about death and what it means. And she said at the end, she said, yes. And I felt very sorry for you because you lost not just one boyfriend, but both your boyfriends.
That's amazing.
I
Could,
was like, oh my God, the kids. I love the kids. So
yeah,
many children are watching it and they love it. And there's a whole new generation of
yeah,
X-Men. And it's because their parents loved it.
yeah. Could you say a quick line as Rogue for the Jason Delgado podcast?
Absolutely. Well, for the Jason Delgado, is it Jason Delgado?
Yeah,
Well, for the Jason Delgado podcast, and I just want to say, my daddy liked to kill himself when he found out I was a mutant.
thank you, thank you very much. So where can we find you on Instagram?
I'm at Lenore Zann, Zann, Lenore, Zann, and I'm on Twitter X at Zan Lenore. So follow me, and I oftentimes chat with the fans and post things and then comment back and forth. So, and I've got a book coming out. I've got my memoir coming out in the fall called A Rogue's Tale. So that'll be available on Amazon. So keep an eye out for that.
Well, definitely. Thank you very much,
Thank
Lenore.
Thank you,
you.
Jason.
Appreciate talking with you. Bye, Jason.
Bye.
Sugar.
Lenore, could you record that Jason Delgado thing one more time? He didn't say it, but you like froze for like a second and a half there. So if you just want to
Okay.
record it
You
again,
want
so
to?
he can have it after. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Well, hey there. You're listening to the Jason Delgado. Sorry, one more time. Well, hey there. You're listening to the Jason Delgado podcast. And this here is Lenore Zann, aka Rogue of the X-Men, saying, my daddy liked to kill himself when he found out I was a mutant.